A Real Pain has a plot that I can honestly imagine myself doing in real life. Jesse Eisenberg and Kieran Culkin play cousins who celebrate the life of their grandma by going on a heritage tour of Poland. But as the trip keeps reminding Culkin of past demons, they both question how they went from cousins closer than brothers to being so distant. Okay, so full disclosure, my grandpa came to Canada from Poland after World War II, where the Germans and the Soviets took over, and it wasn't until he published a memoir he gave my entire family as a Christmas gift that I ever heard him talk about what he had gone through. And after reading it, realized he never went back after fleeing the country. It made me wonder what a trip like that would look like. But it also made me worry that my familiarity with the heritage might cloud my judgment on the film, or that you'd have to have heritage like that in order to enjoy it, because some modern screenwriters just don't know what the word empathy means. But thankfully, that's not the case. While there's a fair amount of focus on Jewish or Polish culture in general that's done respectfully well, the core of A Real Pain is the relationship between Jesse Eisenberg and Kieran Culkin, who have a genuine sibling-like chemistry where they can share just about anything, and it's just infectiously likable. Acting-wise, Culkin gives a career-best performance that plays to his great strengths of getting you to root for, hate, envy, and pity this guy at any given moment, or even all at once. We've all met that person who's so outspoken that even if they interrupt someone or go on a mean streak, you instantly click with how charismatic and energetic they are, to the point where you wish that you could be just as outgoing. Especially in this one scene at a memorial statue where he encourages almost everybody to act like they're in combat with the statues, that they're fighting soldiers, rescuing troops in the name of their ancestors. That was the scene that instantly hooked me with A Real Pain. Very next scene, some minor detail that reminds him of something tragic makes him instantly snap, and his unfiltered thoughts become more vindictive and self-centered. Jesse Eisenberg, on the other hand, starts off seemingly as the same mild-mannered, insecure dweeb he always plays, until he gives himself this really good monologue about how he actually implements lifestyle choices such as meditation and therapy that keep him in check. That's what separates him from Culkin. But because we only notice his lesser qualities in public, that's all we remember about him. It's the kind of relationship where one gets the other out of their shell and the other keeps the one in check. And more importantly, you can connect with these guys as individuals or a duo regardless. The side characters are given just the right amount of depth where you learn enough about them to understand who they are in real life without ever overshadowing our main leads. Easily the two standouts are Jennifer Grey as the one Culkin gravitates towards most, and this one gentleman whose name I'm not even going to try butchering, as someone who you instantly have questions regarding his Jewish roots, but he's aware of that, and his openness to discuss how Judaism entered and affected his life was honestly a really interesting backstory. In fact, some of the best conversations in the movie are just the tourists debating their differing views towards their heritage, where some believe it's more important to embrace the present rather than dwell on the past, while others believe that constantly reminding us of the past can prevent it from repeating in the future. And I've made it no secret on my channel which argument I lean more towards, but to Eisenberg's credit, he never forces you to pick a side. These characters are just sharing their opinions, are more than willing to debate and challenge each other in a civil manner, and if you ever dislike someone, it's not because of their opinion, it's because of this excessive need to feel validated over it. I'm actually feeling kind of ashamed of myself for not mentioning until now that Jesse Eisenberg is the writer and director of this. This is actually his second time making a movie, and he's so confident in his characterization, his actual direction never utilizes any fancy camera angles or editing tricks. Nearly every shot is done in a medium wide where the actors are front and center. If there's ever a close-up, it's to emphasize the impact the conversation had on a character, and the massive wides are reserved for making Poland such a beautiful country. I wouldn't say drop-dead gorgeous, save for a few shots of some statues or this one ritual at a cemetery, but I think Eisenberg was going for the more subtle nuances of Poland, and in my opinion, he succeeded at it. The only large-scale aspect of the movie is the soundtrack, which is done entirely in Chopin piano pieces, and for the most part it works, especially when Culkin's anxiety starts spiraling, as do the tempo of the piano keys, which really puts you into his fractured mindset. But there are other times where it's so loud and bombastic it just distracts from the scene. But in one of many emotional climaxes in this movie, when they actually tour a concentration camp, they wisely cut out the music and just let the silent reactions and simple shots of empty interiors speak for themselves. I have two minor issues with A Real Pain. The first one being in the opening 20 minutes, as they're trying to establish the cousins' dynamic, there's so much rambling dialogue that's not funny or interesting that it was hard to get invested at first, but as soon as they join the tour guide, start coming out of their shells, their interactions felt more genuine. And the other issue is that I'm not really sure how I feel about the ending. It tries to take the angle where it's ambiguous whether one of, if not both cousins ever learned anything or evolved over the course of their journey, and it was obviously an intentional choice. You can make the argument that it's closer to reality, but I don't know. They go through so much emotional shit over the course of this movie that I'm not sure that angle really makes that much sense. Beyond that, though, A Real Pain was a genuine surprise. It has career best performances from Kieran Culkin and Jesse Eisenberg. Eisenberg himself proves that he can be a really good triple threat, and the story itself is just so emotional and investing that I highly recommend it. So, with that, guys, thanks as always for watching. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of A Real Pain. Be sure to like, subscribe, check me out on Patreon and buy me a coffee, and stay tuned for more reviews. Take care.